A lot of you mentioned the Pelmeni tools video was missing subtitles and music. So here's some subtitles and music.
So there I was, planning to make this whole cheeky-breaky video about testing every Pelmeni tool you can buy. Look at this debil. Synchronizing all the 4 cameras I used. 4? Why? Boris, why you do this to yourself? I already know I'm going to end up using this POV. In today's video, mold! Pelmeni molds through the ages. But who would have guessed? They do exactly the same thing. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I expected. I always assumed that people who have this kind of ultra-specific tools for making this all-you-want thing with it can somehow do it better, so I wanted to find out. I will tell you right now, they make no difference at all. But I was not going to buy some creme brulee blowtorch to artificially crispen up my shashik. No. If there was one tool to test, it is for the Pelmeni. So a few weeks ago, I ordered all the Pelmeni tools I could find. Some of these I have seen in Slavic household, others just pure waste of money. To the extent of one Slav man walking to shop, see these things on shelf and curling to ball on ground laughing, because he will not be seen dead even owning this thing, or even less actually paying money for one. But me, I bought 9 of them. So it's probably a good thing I bought them all online. Блять, it sounds like an ad coming on. This is no ad. This is just justice. Truth, honesty. Truth is they're all bad. Do not buy any of them. The end.
And from now on, as you can see, I'm only using warm water to make the Pelmeni dough. Keeps the dough fresh for longer. Very good for kneading, for touching, for all the cheek-breaky. Okay, this just keep over this part. There's like 15 Pelmeni making videos on the channel, I'm sure you can find one. And we start with number beer. Honestly, you have to be at least a little drunk to do what I'm doing right now. I swear, I lost a few IQ points just bringing these tools into my home in the first place. So let's begin. Блин, how long is this introduction? I recorded this shit like 2 weeks ago. Блять, where's the cake on the table? Okay, finally, we're getting somewhere. And we have contender number 1. Straight out of the Soviet Union, this aluminium masterpiece can be found in many Slavic homes. The idea of it sounds good on paper or on image, or however you decide to buy it. The point is you roll out some dough, lay it on here, put a lot of small pieces of meat inside, and it is meant to not just speed up your Pelmeni making process, but also minimize waste. Or it's not exactly waste, it is scraps. The edges of the dough that you get to scrap every time you make one Pelmeni technically is avoided while using this mold. I only use half the mold because I have 8 more tools to try, and I do not feel like eating 70 Pelmeni in one sitting tonight. Now, since the edges of the mold are so sharp, you can just use a book if you want, or just a rolling pin to add pressure to make the shapes. I mean, the logic is sound, the tool is good, but my main problem with this is not the fact that these are shaped to be eaten by Slavic bees, but the fact that they are way too small to be eaten by humans. This not look like Pelmeni, this look like sad. The components are correct, but the look is of betrayal. I'll put this on the side so I cook all 9 at once. Now the price of all these molds are pretty much the same, equivalent of $10. This is most likely because they are all made in Xiaomi factory, and the exporter did not know what price to put, so he put like 10. So did I waste $90 on this video? Yes, I did. Please send on Patreon support, so that in next video I can have even more cameras that I will not use. In contender number 2. You see, now this mold has the benefit of actually looking like Pelmeni, the legendary, the Slavic, the half-moon shape, instead of whatever the блять previous one was. So you do have to shape them a bit more differently in this one, so they did not look like one big bulging meatball in the Pelmeni. I swear, these tools are made for people who have never done Pelmeni at all and want to get the instant feeling of gratitude of, yes, I can cook like babushka. But little do they know, babushka looking from beyond the grave, judging. Дебил. At least that's what was going through my head when I accidentally almost flipped this. I swear, babushka would be running toward you at light speed, rolling pin in hand, if she saw you with this. I promise you, Lenin would be rotating in his mausoleum if he knew these things existed at all. Now, what type of suka, блять, is this? Нахуй, I would be afraid to even put this on table. Even cooking them and eating them alone in case of never see through window what this ёбаный рот is doing. So we arrive at number 3. Okay, I was going to give grades to this, but these are all bad. These are 0 out of 10 all the time, every time. There is already little room in your kitchen. Stop wasting for this kind of trash. But this one, I give this one -5. It is bad enough, it is tool you do not need. But this one is also a tool that does not work. The logic is simple. Push down, roll it, and perfect circles every time. No perfect or no circles can be found. You do too slowly, nothing happens. You do fast, complete пиздец. It leaves but a trace. A trace of the round circle, like a faint smell of dandelions in the outhouse in midsummer. All in all, you're best off shitting in the woods. Adding to the fact that it came with no instruction or no picture of how to use it on the site, I applied all my knowledge and logic of the Slavic cuisine, but it was simply no match for the BYD hack and slash of it. I did give it another try, because hey, money has already been paid. And I doubt the Huawei Pelmeni division site is going to upgrade their product images very soon. I tried other surfaces as well, but the Alibaba cookie cutter simply did not yield. So I did it half by hand like this, just to see how it would work. And to everybody's surprise, not good at all. But I did manage to scavenge one circle of dough, and it was indeed time for part 2 of this 2-in-1 toolkit. Now, I will admit, I was ready for disappointment. The mold looked flimsy, there is no sharp edge to cut the dough, the teeth that push the dough together do not close all the way equally, but giving it a second chance and using a normal amount of force that is actually needed to make the pelmeni dough fuse together with itself yielded a very acceptable result. The edge was indeed sealed. No meat was seen running out. The shape is correct. Of course, nothing will replace a well hand-forked edge. But at least this one got the size correct. Discarding the circular pizza cutter, I would say the other half of this kit returns a very acceptable result. I would even place the pelmeni in my face. Now this next one actually comes with a nice box. The box you can later use to throw this garbage away. Being sold as both hand-operated and battery operated for some strange reason, I opted for the manual one, not only because of the 10 times price difference, but mainly because of fear of rogue Chinese AI being injected into my pelmeni. This is simply something I wish not to deal with. I have enough things on my plate, thank you. After hand cranking it a few times, it was time to insert the meat. As the size of the pelmeni dough has to be extremely precise to run through this machine, I first had to figure out what other tool to make the circles of dough with before placing them on this grey laundry wringer. The logic is sound, you do not need to do 2 at a time, but since you are already performing this circus act like a bear in Moscow circus, you might as well get fat. The hand operation very easy, not even need fist of anger to push this through. A thumbful of minor annoyance will do just fine. At a initial 50% success rate, I would say not bad. The seal is good and worked on the first try. Well, almost. But hey, what else do you expect from a machine that has more moving parts than my old ladder? I forked these together by hand so they not go to waste, and then gave it another, much more alternative try. You see, when I bought all of this from the internet, this one's the one that showed the least promise. I was expecting this to blow up in my face, shards flying all over the apartment, emergency room, here I come. So after attempt number 2 with excessive amount of dough and after manually trimming the edge, defeats the purpose of the machine, but still, we are not weak men here. Ой, блять, I forgot this. Okay, one more try. Give it some more hope before I throw this straight into the garbage with excessive force. I did give it some extra manual helping with moistening the outside flaps. Because after all, it was completely my fault for using 10-minute old dough, and moistening the dough like this pretty much guarantees a super glue level of adhesive efficiency. After taking a moment and realizing how much money I have wasted, I checked the edge and the edge was good. Now only if they would make the same tool with the edge moistening add-on. But as I said, this video was recorded 2 weeks ago, which means not only is this garbage already at the landfill, it is most likely already melted down into other plastics and now waiting already to be manufactured into something almost as useful, perhaps a new vibrating fork by BYD. Okay, now this one, I would say it is almost a different product from the metal one. Mainly because it actually has handles that you can apply some real force with and not leave cutting scars on your hands like the metal one does, so that mama will think you need mental help. Now, for this one, I gave it the most help that I could. Perfect amount of meat. I pushed the dough into the teeth beforehand. I fully utilized the handle to apply full force. But even after flexing more than a Turkish bazaar salesman selling fake Adidas, the mold did not break. Overall, this is good news, as I was intending to eat this for dinner that day, and pieces of shattered plastic in my food was not currently part of my optimal daily diet. The edge is way too thin, but the bond, on the other hand, is as strong as Yugoslavia in the 1970s. I poured out some of my light memory wiping elixir, and I felt very happy knowing that half of these things I have already gone through. Time for number 6. This plastic fake clothes iron looking thing was the only one thing I had absolutely no opinion, but also no prejudice about. Plus, I had no idea how it would actually be working, although grabbing this in my hand, it all became very clear. The stamp looking thing is to break first of all, and in case it remains in one piece, flatten the dough while it is at it. This I was very happy to see working, as you can see, perfectly. After some extended dough manipulation, it should end up in a favorable shape and size. I did once again moisten the outer rim, and with the meat inserted, it was time to apply force. But because of this small size, I decided to only use finger. After many strange noise and much exhaustion, to my surprise, perfect pelmeni! You see, not only does the mold seal the edge, but the outside edge gets trimmed off at the same time. The seal was good, the meat was inside, I'm happy. Sure, it took 5 minutes to make one pelmeni, but it is a good pelmeni. I congratulated the comrade on the job well done and moved on to number next. You not need to be comedic genius to appreciate the humor value of this. Sure, yes, it is ravioli, but why is it made in shape size of cat face mouth? I will never understand. Also, if your pelmeni machine comes with instruction, that is a sign that something has gone terribly wrong in this world. Despite the ravioli for ants target audience that this was aimed at, it does make a good amount of pelmeni at the same time. Okay, so I am about 5 beers in at this point, so my finger dexterity is going to shit. But I highly doubt even being completely sober will have any effect on how garbage this is. After using the mold, without reading the instruction, I ended up with this ragged edge, hollow looking, one-ply toilet paper pimples that you would most likely see floating around in a soup kitchen in the bad part of town. This assault on my visual senses disappointed me severely, but seeing 2 pelmeni molds left in the bag for me to test out, thankfully, made me feel even worse. And as we know, there is no better life force in the world of the Slavic people than anger and disappointment. So with a new surge of enthusiasm, I powered on, because at the end of the day, you still get to eat the pelmeni. The fact that you get 2 molds in the same bag for the price of one was likely a marketing plot, like getting away with something. You order one, but get 2. But with Slavic pessimism at an all-time high, this felt much more like a failsafe from the manufacturers at Shuangqing factory, so that I would be less likely to refund this order once one breaks. But to my surprise, the lower edge, the other half of this mold, made the perfect circle, the perfect shape for this mold. Now, given that there was no instruction, there was no packaging, there was not even a cent of a usable image on the site that I ordered this from, only a low quality 100 by 100 pixel image where you can barely make out if this is a children's toy, an actual tool, or a pair of backup reading glasses for the elderly. I am going to assume that the other half, making a perfect circle for using with this mold, was completely unintentional. But if it was, would make this, by far, the most perfect Pelmeni tool I have ever seen. Look at that trimmed edge, look at that deep fold. It was nothing less than perfect. Good shape, good size, good feeling. Flattened all the way, nice seal all around. I actually took a good minute to appreciate the craftsmanship of this thing that I only have made by hand, like appreciating a good rocking chair that's made out of oak. I would say this and the clothes iron looking gadget are the only ones so far that had made something truly amazing, or I should just say less shit than usual, because after 2 seconds later of inspection of this tool, I found crusted dried dough already stuck in the rim, which would no doubt get stuck forever and start molding up your whole house. After utilizing this one-trick tool, I quickly gave up because despite my default pessimism, life is actually worth living. And finally, for last one and number 9, which I only realized right now, is not just exactly the same tool as in number 3, just maybe the 3D printer press was set to 120%, but was also as flimsy and poorly made as the other one. It seems like Dongfeng Manufacturing forgot to do their homework and just copied off their neighbor. The rear edge of this mold was indeed for cutting. Again, I have no idea if this was unintentional or not, because at 99% chance even the manufacturer doesn't know, because as they say in Chinese manufacturing, which roughly translates to Slavinese as package it however you like. Let's see who ships more at the end of the month. After leaving some more semi-permanent scars on my hands and using the handles as intended until at this point I did realize I do not want to pass bits of broken metal or plastic through my digestive system this day, so I kept the products of this Pelmeni press to a maximum of 1. The edge though somehow turned out worse than number 3, but I was not here to judge, I was here to eat. Besides, after all, this was the time to announce what tool is the best tool for making the Pelmeni. Of course, every rational Slav man, what rationality there is to be had anymore, knows that a true tool is either the edge of a cup or a glass. And this is why at start of video I did announce that none of these tools will be getting a score higher than nothing at all. Because once you have struck gold, it is time to stop drilling for oil. But sometimes the oil just starts pouring from the heaven. Case in point, I found, stumbled upon a tool. No! The tool. Despite the bag saying great Russian taste, the contents tasted more like something out of the basement of a crazy scientist from London. So despite a few dents formed lying in the bottom of the utensils drawer for some time, this tin, formerly used for tea, purely by accident turned out to be the perfect pelmeni mold, which I have been personally using to shape my pelmeni for many time. Shape of 10, good for pressing down hard, even if dough is already dried and 2 days old. The rectangular shape of the bottom minimizes waste of the dough so that not even rats can come to scavenge after you are done. Cover the one piece with the other, and if not in a forking mood, you can just use the cover, push down with normal amount of pressure, and what you have is something that looks different enough so you'll not start turf war with ravioli. The lid flattens the meat, no sharp edges inside, so you can overboil this by 10 minutes and the pelmeni juice shall remain inside. As long as you keep this away from eyesight of babushka, your mental state shall remain unharmed. I whipped out the glorious gold pelmeninator to celebrate this important day. Boiled the meat for exactly 360 seconds and had a dinner for the ages. So let's start with number 1. If I see this on my plate, I would say no. Number 2 looks like a foreign spaceship from the lands of United America. The ones made with a ravioli mold made me think I should have ordered in чебуреки instead. But all the others are pelmeni. There is nothing wrong with trying to use tools to enhance your cooking skill, but I say there is something wrong with spending money on things you do not need. Pelmeni making tools, 2-ply toilet paper, or AI chatbots that spew out garbage when there already exists a place called Reddit. I'm not gonna say my pelmeni tool is better than the others, so I will just think it. And thinking, it costs nothing. I hope you have found this video entertaining and enlightening in many ways. I know I have, because from now on, the only instruments that I will spend money on is the instrument of my success. Thank you for watching, goodbye.